1941 some 23,600 Jews were shot in front of open pits, including 14,000 18,000 people expelled from Hungary. 44:59 After an incident in Białystok in which 90 small children left behind had to be shot separately, Lebel requested that Jewish mothers hold them in their arms during mass shootings. 61 Long before the conference at Wannsee, 28,000 Jews were shot by SS and Ukrainian military in Vinnytsia on 22 September 1941, followed by the 29th of September massacre of 33,771 Jews at Barbia. 44:62 In Dnipropetrovsk, on 13 October 1941 some 10,000–15,000 Jews were shot. 63 In Chernihiv, 10,000 Jews were murdered and only 260 Jews were spared. 63 In mid-October, during the Krivolov massacre of 4,000–5,000 Soviet Jews, entire Ukrainian auxiliary police force actively participated. 64 In the first days of January 1942 in Kharkiv, 12,000 Jews were murdered, but smaller massacres continued in this period on daily basis in countless other locations. 63 In August 1942 in the presence of only a few German SS men over 5,000 Jews were massacred in Polish Zafioka by the Ukrainian auxiliary police, leading to the town's complete sweep from existence. 65 District Galician. Historians find it difficult to determine precisely when the first concerted effort at annihilation of all Jews began in the last weeks of June 1941 during Operation Barbarossa. 66 Dr. Samuel Drix, Witness to Annihilation, Joachim Schoenfeld, Holocaust Memoirs, and several survivors of the Janowska concentration camp, who were interviewed in the film Janowska Kampa, among other witnesses, have argued that the final solution began in Lemberg, in District Galician of the General Government during the German advance across Soviet-occupied Poland. Statements and memoirs of survivors emphasize that, when Ukrainian nationalists and ad hoc Ukrainian People's Militia, soon reorganized as the Ukrainian Auxiliary Police, began to murder women and children, rather than only male Jews, the final solution had begun. Witnesses have said that such murders happened both prior to and during the pogroms reportedly triggered by the NKVD prisoner massacre. The question of whether there was some coordination between the Lithuanian and Ukrainian militias remains open, i.e. collaborating for a joint assault in Kovno, Wilno, and in Rab. 66 The murders continued uninterrupted. On the 12th of October 1941, in Stanislaw, some 10,000–12,000 Jewish men, women, and children were shot at the Jewish cemetery by the German uniformed SS men and Ukrainian auxiliary police during the so-called Bloody Sunday. 67 The shooters began firing at 12 noon and continued without stopping by taking turns. There were picnic tables set up on the side with bottles of vodka and sandwiches for those who needed to rest from the deafening noise of gunfire. 68 It was the single largest massacre of Polish Jews in general government prior to mass gassings of Action Reinhard, which commenced at Belzec in March 1942. Notably, the extermination operations in Chelmo had begun on the 8th of December 1941, 1.5 months before Wannsee, but Chelmo, located in Reichsvorwarty land, was not a part of Reinhard, and neither was Auschwitz-Birkenau functioning as an extermination center until November 1944 in Polish lands annexed by Hitler and added to Germany proper. 68-69 The conference at Wannsee gave impetus to the so-called second sweep of the Holocaust by the Bulletin Feast. Between April and July 1942 in Volhynia, 30,000 Jews were murdered in death pits with the help of dozens of newly formed Ukrainian Skutskmenskov. 70, owing to good relations with the Ukrainian Hilfsverwaltung. 71. These auxiliary battalions were deployed by the SS also in Russia Center, Russia South and in Byelorussia, each with about 500 soldiers divided into 3 companies. 72. They participated in the termination of 150,000 Volhynian Jews alone, or 98% of the Jewish inhabitants of the entire region. 73. In July 1942, the completion of the final solution in the general government territory, which included District Galizien, was ordered personally by Himmler. He set the initial deadline for 31 December 1942. 74. Phase 2. Deportations to extermination camps. When the Wehrmacht invaded the Soviet Union in June 1941, the area of the general government was enlarged by the inclusion of regions that had been annexed by the Soviet Union since the 1939 invasion. 75. The murders of Jews from the Lodz ghetto in the Waterborg district began in early December 1941 with use of gas vans, approved by Heydrich, at the Kulmhof extermination camp. Victims were misled under deceptive guise of resettlement in the east, organized by SS commissioners. 76, which was also tried. Nazi extermination camps marked with black and white skulls. General Government Territory, Center, District Galizien, lower right. Death camp at Auschwitz, lower left, improving Oberschlesien, Nazi Soviet line in Redan tested at Chelmno. By the time the European-wide final solution was formulated 2 months later, Heydrich's RSHR had already confirmed the effectiveness of industrial murder, the exhaust fumes, and the strength of deception. 77. Construction work on the first killing center at Belzec in occupied Poland began in October 1941, 3 months before the 1C conference. The new facility was operational by March the following year. 78. By mid-1942, 2 more death camps had been built on Polish lands, Sobibor operational by May 1942, and Treblinka operational in July. 79. From July 1942, the mass murder of Polish and foreign Jews took place at Treblinka as part of Operation Reinhard, the deadliest phase of the final solution. More Jews were murdered at Treblinka than at any other Nazi extermination camp apart from Auschwitz. 80. By the time the mass killings of Operation Reinhard ended in 1943, roughly 2 million Jews in German-occupied Poland had been murdered. 69. The total number of people murdered in 1942 in Lublin /Majdanek Belzec, Sobibor, and Treblinka was 1,274,166 by Germany's own estimation, not counting Auschwitz II, Birkenau nor Kulmhof. 81. Their bodies were buried in mass graves initially. 82. Both Treblinka and Belzec were equipped with powerful crawler excavators from Polish construction sites in the vicinity, capable of most digging tasks without disrupting surfaces. 83. Although other methods of extermination, such as the cyanic poison Zyklon B, were already being used at other Nazi killing centers such as Auschwitz, the Action Reinhard camps used lethal exhaust gases from captured tank engines. 84. The Holocaust by bullets, as opposed to the Holocaust by gas. 85. Went on in the territory of occupied Poland in conjunction with the ghetto uprisings, irrespective of death camps quota. In 2 weeks of July 1942, the Sloan ghetto revolt, crushed with the help of Latvian, Lithuanian, and Ukrainian Skutskmenskov, cost the lives of 13,000 Jews. 86. The second largest mass shooting, to that particular date, took place in late October 1942 when the insurgency was suppressed in the Pinsk ghetto. Over 26,000 men, women and children were shot with the aid of Belarusian auxiliary police before ghetto's closure. 87. During the suppression of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, the largest single revolt by Jews during World War II, 13,000 Jews were killed in action before May 1943. 88. Numerous other uprisings were quelled without impacting the pre-planned Nazi deportations actions. 89. About two-thirds of the overall number of victims of the final solution were murdered before February 1943. 90. Which included the main phase of the extermination program in the West launched by Eichmann on the 11th of June 1942 from Berlin. 91. The Holocaust trains run by the Deutsche Reichsbahn and several other national railway systems delivered condemned Jewish captives from as far as Belgium, Bulgaria, France, Greece, Hungary, Italy, Moravia, Netherlands, Romania, Slovakia, and even Scandinavia. 92. 93. The cremation of exhumed corpses to destroy any evidence left behind began in early spring and continued throughout summer. 94. The nearly completed clandestine program of murder and all deportees was explicitly addressed by Heinrich Himmler in his Posen speeches made to the leadership of Nazi Party on the 4th of October and during a conference in Poznan, of the 6th of October, 1943 in occupied Poland. Himmler explained why the Nazi leadership found it necessary to murder Jewish women and children along with the Jewish men. The assembled functionaries were told that the Nazi state policy was the extermination of the Jewish people as such. 95. We were faced with the question, what about the women and children? I have decided on a solution to this problem. I did not consider myself justified to exterminate the men only in other words, to kill them or have them killed while allowing the avengers, in the form of their children, to grow up in the midst of our sons and grandsons. The difficult decision had to be made to have this people disappear from the earth. Heinrich Himmler, the 6th of October 1943, 96, on the 19th of October 1943, 5 days after the prisoner revolt in Sobibor, Operation Reinhard was terminated by Odilo Globoknik on behalf of Himmler. The camps responsible for the murder of nearly 2,700,000 Jews were soon closed. Belzec, Sobibor, and Treblinka were dismantled and plowed over before spring. 97. The operation was followed by the single largest German massacre of Jews in the entire war carried out on 3 November 1943, with approximately 43,000 prisoners shot one by one simultaneously in 3 nearby locations by the Reserve Police Battalion 101 hand in hand with the Trawniki men from Ukraine. 98. Auschwitz alone had enough capacity to fulfill the Nazis' remaining extermination needs. 82. Auschwitz II-Birkenau. Unlike Belzec, Sobibor, Treblinka, and Lublin-Majdanek, 99, which were built in the occupied general government territory inhabited by the largest concentrations of Jews, 100. The killing center at Auschwitz subcamp of Birkenau operated in Polish areas annexed by Nazi Germany directly. The new gas chambers at Bunker I were finished around March 1942 when the final solution was officially launched at Belzec. Until mid-June, 20,000 Silesian Jews were murdered there using Zyklon B. In July 1942, Bunker II became operational. In August, another 13,000 Polish Jews from Silesia were murdered, 101, along with 16,000 French Jews declared stateless, 102, and 7,700 Jews from Slovakia. 101. The infamous Gate of Death at Auschwitz II for the incoming freight trains was built of brick and cement mortar in 1943, and the 3-track rail spur was added. 103. Until mid-August, 45,000 Thessaloniki Jews were murdered in a mere 6 months. 102, including over 30,000 Jews from Sosnoye, Sosnowitz, and Benzin ghettos. 104. The spring of 1944 marked the beginning of the last phase of the final solution at Birkenau. The new big ramps and sidings were constructed, and 2 freight elevators were installed inside crematoria 2 and 3 for moving the bodies faster. The size of the Sonderkommando was nearly quadrupled in preparation for the